Well, hi everyone. Sorry for the messy background, but I am just coming up on here in the video universe to put myself on the record. So this video is mostly for me, and if other people happen to see it, great, and if not, cool. Um, I wanted to talk about a dream that I had last night. um, which stood out to me. And in general, just to give context, my dreams have been extremely vivid since about March 29th. And what I have observed about that change has been the fact that that day I moved houses. I believe there was an eclipse, and also Neptune moved into Aries around that time. I don't remember the exact date, and I don't feel like opening an ephemeris to find the exact date, but I do know that Neptune moved very recently into Aries. So anyway, just to give context, my dreams have been like it was an abrupt change from very unclear, messy dreams. Sometimes I remember them, sometimes I don't. Most of the time, they make no sense, to all of a sudden I'm having vivid dreams every single night. And I reached the point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start writing my dreams down again because these are searing themselves into my brain every single morning. So, anyway, this morning I had a dream, and I actually ended up waking up and going back to sleep. And in my dream, I saw my brother and my older brother, and I guess some family background. I have an older brother who passed away. I think it's been 9 years ago now. So anyway, my older brother Andrew passed away, and I saw him, and occasionally I'll dream about him, and he was like showing me his room in a basement. And interestingly enough, almost, I guess half my childhood, his room happened to be in the basement of the houses we lived at, especially when he was older and he was a young adult trying to figure out his life. So, I don't know. It kind of made sense in the dream for him to be showing me his room in a basement, and he was talking about how there was water under the floorboards and it made him sick or something. And I was trying to follow what he was talking about, but I didn't fully understand what he was talking about. But anyway, we went from that to all of a sudden we are in what looks like to be a Mediterranean dry landscape, and I'm looking around, and there's some folks around, and my brother's there too, and I look behind me, and there's this big mountain, this big volcano mountain, and it looked like a volcano in that it had the V shape, and it stood out in the landscape. There were no other mountains. It was just this big cone-shaped volcano. And a couple moments passed, and all of a sudden the volcano erupted, and a column of smoke shot up, and it took a few seconds for everyone, including me, to register what was happening. That, like, oh shit, this is an eruption. And I watched the column go up into the sky and start to arch, and realized, oh, like, this volcano is not that far away. And so I turn to my brother and he starts running. And so I started running, and it didn't take long for rocks to start falling from the sky, and I was like, "Oh shit. Wow, that was fast." And I started I kept running and trying to cover my head to protect my head from the rocks, and they were falling closer and closer, and I was just running, and everyone was running, and I'm not sure. We were just trying to get away from the volcano. And then I woke up uh, shortly after that, and um, another thing that's been happening is that while I'm dreaming, a voice will say something. Um, and lately it's been either one word or a very short phrase, but most of the time it's like one word. And in my dream, I heard the words Mount Vesuvias. And so, as you can imagine, I woke up this morning and laid in bed and was like, "Wow, damn, that was a intense dream." And then ended up getting on my phone and Googling Mount Vesuvius, because I was like, why do I recognize that name? I didn't know from where. And then it turns out that Mount Vesuvius is the volcano in Italy that's famous for erupting and covering the city of Pompeii and entombing the city in ash. And that started me on a journey today of watching some YouTube documentaries on Mount Vesuvius. And I looked at the image and I was like, wow, that looks very, very similar to the volcano I saw in my dream. Just a very classic looking volcano, I guess. It just looks like it's a very conical, I don't know if that's a word, volcano that just really stands out in the landscape because there's not much else surrounding it. It just juts out of the terrain. So basically, I've just been thinking about that dream today, not really going into trying to unravel it. It probably has many meanings to me personally, but mostly I just wanted to jump on here and record this dream, especially because we're in anticipating a transit that to me is a very volcanic transit, figuratively and literally. The Mars opposite Pluto configuration that's going to have an exact hit for the third time, I believe, on April 26th, 2025. So I guess to give a little background, hopefully I haven't been shouting into the mic. Whoops. I'm a student of astrology. I've been studying for 2 years now, and I started out being privately tutored by a friend, and now I'm embarking on a series of private studies with different folks. And anyway, I'm trying to figure out a way for me to learn and start making observations and recording them. I've tried keeping a journal, and that hasn't really been working for me lately, so I wanted to start making videos to help myself learn and apply astrology in a little more personal, down-to-earth way. And for me, I happen to live on a volcano. I live on Hawaii Island, where, I'm ancestrally connected to Hawaii Paina through my family, and I had the opportunity to move here about, I guess, 8 months ago. And so I have been acquainting myself with Pele and what it means to live on her domain, I guess. And so, yeah, that's been on my mind. And I did notice that the first, or was it second, Mars Pluto hit, she started erupting, and has had continuous series of eruptions. I think we're at 18 episodes total, from 2024 to 2025 that have occurred over the past 6 months or so. So, yeah, I have some intense interest in tracking Mars-Pluto opposition and what it looks like, from an Earth perspective, not just human behavior, but what's actually happening in our landscapes. And to me, Mars-Pluto opposition, rings very accurately when it comes to what volcanic eruptions basically is what I'm trying to say. So to me, that's a literal manifestation of a Mars-Pluto opposition. So anyway, that's mostly what I wanted to come on here. And I will add, this is just another personal note for me to remember, and to remind myself that I had dreams of Pele erupting, and I would have dreams of the lava. Like, I would have dreams of walking on a mountain and like lava coming down. And that was before I moved to Hawaii Island. This was when I was still living in North Carolina, in Western North Carolina to be exact. And yeah, I had dreams for almost 2 years straight before moving here about Pele, and it just really, it's striking to me how connected how connected we are to the landscapes that we live on, and that we come from, our bodies come from. So I guess that's just a side note, but I'm just noticing that this keeps happening in my life, and I mostly just want to put it on the record that there's something going down between the stars and the Earth, the deep subterranean heat realms of this planet. There's some kind of conversation going on. So, of course, it's always happening, but it's especially loud right now. So I'll be keen to see what happens in 2 days. I'm kind of anxious to see what happens. There's a lot of tension, it feels like. It feels like we're building up to something, and I'm not sure if that's just in my head or if, what pans out will align with how I'm feeling. I'm curious to see. Part of the learning process is allowing things to unravel, and then hopefully taking notes and digesting the experience before life continues on. That's something I've been struggling with. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to end this video and maybe make another one about dreams and stars. I feel like that's just been, my dream world's been very active. So I'm just wondering how that fits into astrology and all the other occulty goth things that I try to get myself into. So anyway, I hope whoever's out there stays safe and connects to wherever they are, whatever landscape that you live on. I hope that you have a positive, loving relationship with that place. And I'll see you later.